Smell it, I'm closer. Welcome back, artists. I hope you're doing well. We're in the backyard today. I thought I'd take advantage of the beautiful day and the natural lighting set up here on the back deck and enjoy making the video with the pups in the background. I'd like to thank Trish for the awesome shirt today. She wanted me to snazz up the videos a little bit with some colorful messages. So today what we're going to do is we're going to extend upon the previous video about sketching, doodling, and scribbling. And what I'm going to do is give you some pointers and some techniques that you can use to enhance your own sketching abilities. So all you're going to need today is a pencil and a piece of paper. What we're going to do is we're going to start with something that's known as a value scale. And this will help you be able to look at an item or a landscape and be able to see the different values in light and dark. And this is an exercise for you to improve upon that with your sketching skills. So for this I'm going to have to cut to a different video. So let's go have some fun. Ready? Okay, so let's create a value scale. First thing, I'm going to put on my trusty glasses. I'm going to get my little GoPro, my tripod from Melanie. Thank you again, Melanie and Peter. We're going to set it up here so that again I can, the magic of editing, I can cut back and show you closer what I'm doing on the paper with the GoPro. So we'll turn it on and we're ready to go. We're going to create a rectangle very loosely. Don't worry about neatness or whether or not corners meet or anything else. And what we're going to do is we're going to split this rectangle into 5 blocks. So by taking the center one out first, like that, and then we can divide the other 2, and that should give us our 5 blocks. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start from a light value, and we're going to go all the way to the darkest value. So step 1, the lightest, is white. So you're done. Scratch that one off your list. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump over here to the darkest, and we're just going to fill this in. Again, you don't have to be neat about it. What we're wanting to do is just show it as completely dark, or as dark as we can get it. Okay, that should work for the sake of this project. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go from this darkest color to this lightest color. So what I suggest is over these 3, these are obviously going to get darker, darker, and darkest, going that way. So what I suggest, we're going to do some light scribbling across all 3. Now the next step is we want to make these 2 darker, so we'll do some more scribbling. And And then the last step is this one needs to be darker than that one, so we'll do some more scribbling. Okay, so now you have from light to dark. This is one way that you can play with the value scale. I'll show you another one, another trick you can do, or another technique you can use in doing the value scale. We need to switch to another video. Ready? Okay, there are many ways you can play with the value scale. First one I showed you was just with scribbling. There's a couple other techniques you can use. Some of these are hatching, cross-hatching, stippling. You can create your own pattern, smudging, where you actually smudge the graphite onto the paper. So let's just try a couple different ones. One in particular I like is cross-hatching. Again, we have our paper divided into 5 boxes, and the first one is done, so we're going to go to the second one. Cross-hatching is just basically where you make lines. In this case, we're going to do the darkest box again, and I want to get those a little bit closer. So you just really want to darken the box in as much as you can with lines that go parallel. This is known as hatching. If you want to go into cross hatching, we would just take lines and go the opposite direction. We're going to do like we did before across these 3 boxes, and we will put lines, but we're going to make them really rather light. And we'll go into this next, the middle box, and we'll darken those in a little bit. And then to the 4th box here, next to the darkest, and we'll darken those in even more. And by that point, you may want to darken your darkest box in even further. And this is, again, a great way for you to practice going from darkest to lightest. So there's hatching. Now we can try a different approach. Another rectangle. Take out that center box. Divide the other 2 in half. And we can do something called stippling. Again, your lightest box doesn't really have anything, but I will, for the sake of this one, put just a couple dots. Stippling is the making of dots, repetitive dots. So here, in this case, I'm going to shift it up a little bit. We're going to do it instead of how many dots we put, the size of them. So on the darkest one, we're going to put big dots, and we're going to have them really close to each other. And then we're going to, as we go across, we're going to make the dot a little bit smaller. So the next one down, they're all about this size, maybe a little further apart than before. Go down again, we're going to go down in size and space them out even further. Some of them you want to run off the edges just so you use all the space. Again, we're going to go down a little bit further. And these will be even smaller and further apart. Small, we'll run one off the edge. So there you go. go from little tiny. Now these, if you want to turn these into little tiny circles, that's okay too. It might be a little bit more in keeping with the theme. So there you have another value scale going from little dots to bigger dots. So these are just some of the techniques that you can use. You can play around. You can use the hatching, the cross hatching. Maybe you create your own design with hearts or giraffes or whatever else you can think of. But these are ways that you can exercise your mind and your eye-hand coordination when you're doing sketching. So you give it a try. Okay, so you remember a few episodes back when I mentioned saving plastic caps, and so I thought maybe this might be a chance to remind you to save the plastic caps off any jars, water bottles, mayonnaise jars. So we have an idea for a project in the future, which if you save a few of these, as many as you can get. If you can only get 2 or 3, we'll make do. If you can get a jar this big, that's great. If you have access to some acrylic paint, a couple tubes of paint, you don't need many colors, at least 2 contrasting colors, black and white, or whatever colors you want to choose, but at least 2 colors would be best. If you have access to 3 or 4, that's fine too, but at least 2 different colors of acrylic paint, and then some glue. I have some wood glue here, Elmer's glue, any kind of glue, and then of course you're going to need something to paint on. We can even use a piece of cardboard. If you have a canvas, that's great, but a piece of cardboard, a flat piece of wood. Sometimes if you are in need of something quickly to paint on, like I said, cardboard, or even the back cardboard of an old notebook will work for this project. So furthermore, I'm going to share this while we were shooting this. It's my Lady Elaine on my t-shirt, so I'm sure you'll be seeing me and sporting this in a future episode. So thanks again for Pixels for the shirt. I appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see you then. Bye. Great time for the chainsaw.